O ke ia ka mo'oku auhau o ka ʻohana kai anui. O ka ipu male o ka he kili ke kāne, o ka hiehie o ka lani ka wahine, noho pū laua a hānau ia o kai anui. O kai anui ke kāne, o na uala ka wahine, noho pū laua a hānau ia o ka aihoe kai anui. O ka aihoe kai anui ke kāne, o ulalia ke au he'e ka wahine, noho pū laua a hānau ia o pakulani ka aihoe kai anui. O pakulani ka aihoe kai anui ka wahine, o Henry Dwyer ke ao long ke kane, noho pū laua a hānau ia o Leana i ka Rosilani o Maui long. O Harry Hi'ileali'i Holt ke kane, o Leana i ka Rosilani o Maui long ka wahine, noho pū laua a hānau ia o Hokulani Haila Hi'ileali'i Holt. O Buster Kane Padilla ke kane, o Hokulani Haila Hi'ileali'i Holt ka wahine, noho pū laua a hānau ia o Lu'ukia Padilla, Kauhi Lono Honua Thomas Padilla, a Papa I Kaniau Idabeth Padilla. E ola ka halo o ko ʻOhana.
Aloha. For those of you who may not be familiar with what we just did, we just welcomed you all with aloha. And that was the first chant that they did to welcome everyone that has come here and joined us with aloha. And the chant that Kani'au did is an ancestral chant of ours in which we call upon our ʻOhana and make connections to the names and the people that we are related to, and in doing so, have their names live once again and have them live once again, and to draw them to us as we are here with you. Aloha. Okay, just letting you know, we are so nervous. Really, the children had anxieties like you wouldn't believe. Look, they look adult, yeah? They look adult, but they had anxiety like you would not believe. So we're really happy that we see smiling faces out there and faces we're familiar with. And so it's all like talking with ʻOhana. They have nice little couches for us, so it's a facade that we are at home talking with you. But we are very happy, really, to be here. Thank you. How this is going to run a little bit is I'll have each of the children talk story, and then we'll talk story at the end once again. And in our talking story, since that is the theme of this of this conference, and that being that let the stories live. Yeah, the stories of each Native people, the story of each Aina that you come from, and the story of the families that you come from, and your own stories in the journeys that bring you to where you are today at this place. And so that's kind of like what we're going to do. Now, they don't like talking about themselves, yeah? Because such is indigenous people. Yeah, we don't really like talking about ourselves. We just do what we do, and that's all. But, you know, when Louis said, come on, we went, no, I went. I went, okay, and then I contacted them and said, we have to. They didn't really say okay, but you know, when you have to, then you have to, and that's all. Yeah, you know, indigenous people know that. When the whoever in the family says, okay, everybody stand up, we gotta do this. You know better than to make ugly face, yeah, because that don't work. You know better than to roll your eyes, because that don't work. Because when you were little, you got a little bit pack for that one. But when the whoever says, okay, everybody line up, we're going to do this, you all go, and fall into your little places, however you belong in the lineup. So that's kind of like how this went. When the mama said, okay, we have to do this, it was like, never really said okay, but we're going to be here anyway. So mahalo for joining us. We're going to start with the eldest. The eldest in our ʻOhana is Lu'ukia Ruidis. Okay, I'm going to see, they asked me, Mom, what are you going to say? I went, I don't know. So that's always scary to them. Yeah, that's always scary. So, oh, it's a little bit rainy. Okay, go where you have to go. Never mind. We'll just continue talking like you were right in front of us. And so they kind of scary with the, I don't know. So I'm just going to go for it. Lu'ukia is the eldest of the three of them. And she has, you know, when she stood up, you saw she was the shortest. But that doesn't mean anything. She's still the eldest. So in indigenous families, you know what that means. She rules the sister and brother no matter what her size. Lu'ukia is a physician. She is a doctor. She went to school on Maui. She went to public school, graduated, and came to Honolulu to do her education here in the university system, and also therefore went to the John Burns School of Medicine and did her, oh, you can go, you know, you're getting wet, yeah. Oh, come sit on stage. Hi, Ruben. Come. Make like ʻOhana. I have no problem. Come. The stairs over here. Over here, the stairs. And over here are stairs. Come. Whoa. Okay, kupuna. I know, mahalo, you have come to see us and say, hi, you guys. You know, oh, by the way, if you don't know this already, I'm a kind of a rain person. Yeah, my folks know I'm a kind of a rain person. And so it's okay. We're going to let everybody come. Anyway, we're getting back to Lu'ukia. Lu'ukia went to the John Burns School of Medicine and worked in the community. She currently has her own practice in Maui. She has family practice. And this is Lu'ukia.
Aloha, kako. Oh, I was told to stand, so I will stand. So the task or the question that was asked to us when we started talking about this presentation that we were going to do is the culture that you were raised in, or in our case, the Hawaiian culture, is it relevant to contemporary society? That's a deep and interesting question. And so I think before you talk about today, is it relevant today, you have to think about what was it like growing up in a Hawaiian culture, in a Hawaiian home? What did it mean to be, you know, growing up in Hawaiian culture? I don't know. Mainly because we would just screw up. You just wake up every morning, you go to school, you do your homework, you do what your mom says, you go to hula, that's it. You just do it. And so it's not like she said, okay, today we're going to learn po'okela, or excellence. Today we're going to learn kokua, and this is how you kokua. You just do. You just do it. And so it was really hard for me to think about what this all means. And so, of course, I'm thinking, didn't everybody just do that? Isn't that what everybody does? Apparently not, because I talked to my husband, who's Japanese, and he was raised Japanese, which when we started talking was very different than the way our family was raised. For instance, he's a boy, and so in his family, his mom did everything, every single thing. He didn't do a single thing. Didn't cook, didn't clean, didn't do anything, because I guess in Japanese culture, the mom does everything. So when we started hanging out, and he came to our family, whew, his eyes were open to something very different. In our family, the women are strong. I wouldn't say that we have our hand in everything, but are we actually doing the things? Probably not. It's more everybody, kokua, right? Everybody does their own thing to help the family. And I just thought that's how everybody's family works, but it's not. And so, thinking about that, I look at, how did we learn to do these things, and is it relevant to what we do today? And like Mom said, you kind of just do the stuff and you don't grumble. Well, you can grumble, but you better not let anybody hear you grumble, because then you get jerked. Like one time we were at family reunion and everybody's there, and in Hawaiian family, you serve the kupuna, so you go and get the food, and the kupuna stay, and the elders stay, and you bring the food. So we had brought the food, and there's a long table of people sitting, and now it was my turn, so I got my food, and just ready to sit down and enjoy. And then I hear, tea. They call me tea. Tea. This means I gotta do something. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta do something. And I was just sitting down to eat, now what? But you cannot roll your eyes. And you cannot grumble so that another adult can, not only your mom, but any other auntie, uncle, cousin cannot hear you grumble either. Well, I made a mistake. So I went over to Mom and she said, okay, can you clear the table? Long table of everybody. Can you clear the table? I was just gonna eat, and now I gotta clean up. And so to kind of rebel a little bit, I started at the other end. Well, I'm not gonna pick her plate up first. I'm gonna pick everybody's first. And I was walking to the other side of the table, and I made the mistake of saying out loud, I guess now everybody no more legs and cannot take their own plate. And then I feel a jerk on my shirt. And I look down, and my auntie pulls me down to her level and says, I know you don't want your mother to hear what you just said. Oh, no. I'll pick it up. So those are the kind of things that go on in Hawaiian family. I don't know if you experienced that, but that's what I experienced. And it definitely is relevant to today. In my clinic, I'm a solo family medicine, so it's just me in the office with 3 staff. And our outlook on how to treat the patients is like family. And for those of you who were raised in Hawaiian family know it's not all roses and sunshine when you're in Hawaiian family. There's arguing, there's loud talking, but I think underlying all of that is people know that in your family that you genuinely care about them. And that's the kind of feel we like to have in my clinic, where when people walk in, you greet them, you look them in the eye, and you greet them and say, hello, how can we help you today? Or what can we do for you today? Not, looking at your computer, hold your finger up and wait, make them wait. You stop what you're doing and you look at them. When somebody comes to your house, you don't keep cleaning your house and let them wait at the door. You say, hey, come on in. And that's the kind of feel that we give. And, you know, my family knows I'm pretty grouchy. I'm not like the most warm and fuzzy person, which is kind of odd for a family physician, because you think of physicians as really caring. That's not me. But I think underlying it all, my patients know that I genuinely care about them. And I treat them, you know, like I would my family. And so I had a 14-year-old come in one day with a boxer's fracture, which is a fracture of this side of your hand from punching a wall. And so I treat him like I would a cousin, and I said, what in the heck were you thinking punching the wall? And he said, I was so angry. And so we started talking about, you know, why are you so angry? What is going on that's making you so angry? And he kind of shared that, you know, his family just has a lot of children, and he never gets time to himself. And so he was frustrated and angry. And so I said, you know, I gave him some pointers of maybe what he can do. I said, you know, why don't you do your chores, you do what you need to do, listen to your mom and show her how responsible you are, and then maybe you can ask her for some time to yourself, some time to go out. And he laughed and whatever. I was like, okay, maybe he listens, maybe not. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I see him at the mall. Well, I see this herd of adolescents, which I generally ignore, but this herd of adolescents. And then I'm walking by with my husband, and he goes, hey, Dr. Ruiz. And I looked over, and it was that 14-year-old boy, and he said, it worked. She let me come out, and I was like, hey, that's good. And so if you can do, you know, something like that, and that's just like treating them like you would a cousin. And that's kind of what I have gathered from living in this family of people who expect you to do things and you just do it. And not that we were beaten. I don't remember really getting beaten. Or maybe I was knocked out and I don't remember.
You learn quick.
Oh, learn quick. Back in those days, that wasn't, I mean, it was not like it was okay, but it was done. So anyway, I don't remember being beaten, so hey, it's okay. But you know, you learn quick, and you carry that through. And I think, well, I'd like to think, that's what helps me to have a successful practice, medical practice, where, you know, my patients like to come and enjoy, I think, being with me.
Mahalo. The number 2 is Kauhilo Nohonua Thomas Padilla. He, as you can see, is the only boy in the ʻOhana. He lives here on Oahu, and like all of my children, like obedient children, he went to college and got his degree in communications because his mother told him to. His mother told him, go to college, get your degree in communication, because when I'm ready to have my TV station, you better be ready to run it. And so he did. He went to college, got his bachelor's in communications, lives here on Oahu, and is now a kumuhula here on Oahu of the Halau Hi'iakaina Makalehua, along with our Hanai, Ke'ano Kaupu, Robert Ke'ano Kaupu, and the two of them have halau. And if you know anything about halau, that's a whole other big subject. But I would like to turn the time over to Lono.
Aloha kako. My name is Lono Padilla, and I come from a hula family. I'm a fourth generation kumuhula.
They get emotional, and that's what they didn't want to do. They didn't want to be emotional, but cannot help.
My great-grandmother, Ida Pakulani Long, was the first kumuhula. She had 15 children. Of those 15, 3 of her daughters became kumuhula. Me Ulalia Lobenstein, Kahili Cummings, and my grandmother, Leanaika Rosalani o Maui Woodside. From them, there are 2 of my great-grandmother's grandchildren that are kumuhula, my auntie, Ulalia Woodside, and my mother, Hokulani Holt. And then from those great-grandchildren, there are 2 more kumuhula, myself and my cousin, Melia Lobenstein Carter. Kalamai. I grew up in a hula family. Hula is what we did. Hula was not a choice, it was always there. Whether you liked it or not, everybody learned how to sing, everybody learned how to play music, everyone learned how to dance hula. So when I grew up, my mother decided that I was going to be the kumuhula for this family. So I had graduated from college, and she said, "What are you gonna do now?" I said, "I'm gonna go to work." She said, "Okay, but you're also going to become a kumuhula." I did not want to. I fought it the entire time. But my mother knows better than I do. And with her guidance and protection and her knowledge, I graduated as a kumuhula in 2008, along with Keanu Ka'upu and my auntie Ulalia Woodside. And that same year, we started Halau Hi'iaka Ina Makalehua. And I don't know, we have 150 students, and they all look up to both Keanu and I don't know how I do it every day. But it is because of my ʻOhana, of the people that I come from, that I'm able to holomua, to continue on, and to take my family tradition and teach it to others. We just competed in our first Merry Monarch this year. It was the most stress I've ever loved. Now that I live on Oahu, I'm not home with my family who all live on Maui, and so my halau has become my family. They are the ones who I am with every day. They're the ones who I talk to and who I take care of, and it is my students now who have become my family, and I love them just as much as I love my own family. And it is because of my mother and my family that I'm able to do that. Because growing up, it's just what happens. They get you up and they tell you, okay, now it's time to dance, and so now it's time to dance. Now you have to go and do a show, okay, you have to go and do a show. But it is from my family that I learned that I have grown to love hula. It is because of them that I do love hula and my Hawaii and my Hawaiian culture, and it is because of them that I continue to perpetuate my culture for my people. Mahalo.
That's probably the most he has said at any one time. even when, you know, they were interviewing them for Mary Monarch on TV and stuff, and he would say like one sentence, and then one sentence, and that's about it. So Lono lives here on Oahu and continues the family tradition, which is hula. Not saying that Lu'ukia does it, yeah, since he brought up hula. Lu'ukia remains in hula back on Maui in our halau, and she is an alaka'i. And a alaka'i means that they are the liaison between the kumu and the students should that need to happen. They make corrections, they go and organize things when the kumu goes. I think we need, because it's the royal we, yeah? I think we need to do this. Go do that. And so then they have to go, okay, what does that mean? And then it happens. So that's how halau works. And so Lu'ukia is a alaka'i in the halau, and should I not be at hula for some reason, the alaka'i are responsible for the halau. Okay, now the muli loa, or the youngest, that is on this side. This is Papa'i Kani'au, Ida Beth Padilla. Oh, Kai Anui, shouldn't change her name, a while ago. So like she had on her Facebook, if you think I got married, I didn't. I just changed my name. So she took our great-grandmother's, her great-grandmother's last name, from which her first name comes from that family genealogy as well. She's going to introduce herself as what her work life is, but she also has been, like all of my children, have been raised in an extended family. Often when we talk about family, it's just not the four of us sitting here. There is extended family of aunties and uncles and cousins and friends that you call auntie and uncle and cousin that are ʻOhana as well. So here is Papa'i Kani'au Kai Anui, also known as Kani'au.
Oh, yeah, this is very nervous. I work as a professor at the University of Hawaii on Maui, but when it comes to talking about myself, it's very nerve-wracking. I can get in front of my class every day and talk for hours and hours and hours about Hawaiian language and Hawaiian culture, but when it comes to talking about myself, it's like, oh, what am I gonna say? So what I wanted to first start off is talking about my family and how proud I am of them. So first, today is my mom's birthday, so yay.
And what better way than to spend it with friends and extended friends and family.
And I'm very proud of her for not only her participation in Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian language revitalization efforts on Maui. She started different types of organizations on Maui, like Napono Eau, Punana Leo, Kaho'olawe Island Reserve Commission, and she had her hand in a lot of things in Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian language on Maui and throughout the state. And she also raised 3 of us all by herself with help from our extended family, but I'm very proud of her for raising such wonderful children, if I do say so myself. Next, my sister, you know, she's always been a role model to me. She always took on her true role as kua'ana and took care of me and my brother and everybody else in the family. We born and raised in Hawaiian homes, and as a teenager, she did become hapai with my niece, who is gonna be 20. That time flies by. And she still decided to pursue her goal to become a medical doctor. And I know it was really hard for her leaving my niece on Maui while she came to Oahu to pursue her educational goals but she did it, and it was for us and for inevitably Kalani as well. And then my brother, I'm so happy that he reluctantly took on the role of kumuhula in our family because, as you know, I don't know in other family, but as the youngest, I no do what I no like do. And I never like hula, I no need hula. I never like do nothing, I no gotta do them, so one of them gotta do them. So like, yeah. So I'm happy that he took on that role and became the kumuhula, and he is doing a wonderful job at perpetuating that in our family and continuing the legacy of kumuhula in our family. Okay, so I guess now it's my turn to talk about myself. So in our family, like my sister said, we just did. We just grew up. I didn't know other families were any different, you know? So at the born and raised Hawaiian homes, everybody in our community looked like us, yeah? Everybody looked the same, everybody acted the same, and we were all played with each other like cousins, and my auntie, who also is like my second mom, she lived down the road, so I'd go back between the two houses. Weekdays, I'd be at home. Weekends, my mom wouldn't see me at all. She'd be like, where is she? Who knows with her aunties? So I was that kid, yeah. I went this auntie's house, that auntie's house. Everybody else helped raise me, which for me, I think was beneficial because I have my hand in everybody's family and everybody knows me. But I didn't know how different our life really was compared to other families until I started school. So during the early 80s, my mom was influential in creating the Hawaiian immersion schools on Maui. So she was the first director of Punana Leo o Maui. And as her child, she signed me up. She's like, I don't care if you want to be in immersion, I'm signing you up. So that's one of those things, like we don't have a choice. So as a member of the first class at Punana Leo and eventually Kulakaiapuni, the K through 12 program, it was instilled in us in a very young age that we had to make this program successful. We had to be leaders. We had to pave the way. Not knowing, we're 4 years old. We don't know that we're being leaders, we're being examples, we're being looked up to see, is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? We didn't know that. But all we knew as children is that we had to go to school. Our whole day was in Hawaiian. All our math, our English, our subjects, our science, everything was in Hawaiian. And we didn't know that other kids didn't do that in their school. So we're like, one day we're 5 years old playing at the McDonald's playground, because before McDonald's had playground, they don't have that anymore, yeah. So my classmates and I were playing on the McDonald's playground, of course in Hawaiian, because that's our language of origin and what we know. And everybody like starts crowding around us, around the gate, and like staring at us. And we're like, why is everybody staring at us? And then we just keep playing in Hawaiian. And then I asked my mom, she was like, why was everybody like watching us play? That was kind of creepy. And she was like, well, they don't hear Hawaiian language ever, you know, at that time, back in the mid-'80s. So at that time, I realized that we were a little bit different from everybody else. So even from that young age, my mom instilled in each one of us that education was important, not just for us, but for us to be examples for our people, you know, for other people, our younger cousins and our other people in our family, that no matter what, education was premier, was paramount in all of our lives. So after completing Punana Leo, I moved on to Kulakaiapuni, and I graduated from Kulakaiapuni, the first graduating class on Maui in 2001. Thanks. And then I continued in the UH system. I got my first bachelor's in social work because, I don't know if with other immersion students, but you know, the naysayers at the initiation of the program, oh, what are you gonna do? Teach Hawaiian language? That's all you can do with the Hawaiian immersion education. So as a graduate, I said, no, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And it's true. So now that we're seeing there's many graduates from the program. There's firefighters, there's doctors, there's police officers, there's farmers, and there's just people, graduates of the program that have this sense of identity that is instilled with them through the program, through the Hawaiian Immersion Program and Hawaiian Medium Education. Because as we know, as Indigenous people, you can't just learn a language without learning the culture as well. Yeah, so it's not just learning the language, it's learning also the culture. Like my sister was saying, we didn't know that, okay, we're gonna do this today, that's Hawaiian culture. Okay, we're gonna learn this today, that's Hawaiian culture. It just is what it is, and we lived every day. So we have a lot of graduates from the Hawaiian Immersion Program that are just successful members of the society with this identity and this connection to this place that we call home. For me, I love my ʻOhana, Maui, because it is where my family is from. It's where my family has always been from, and my heart hurts when I'm away from it. Literally hurts because I know that that's my family. The earth itself is my family. The aina itself there is my family, because that's where my kupuna are buried, that's where their bones live, and that's where I am from. Okay, so after I finished high school, I continued in the UH system as, got my bachelor's in social work, but when I went to go apply for my bachelor's, they said, oh, you have enough credits for a second bachelor's in Hawaiian language. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you were taking Hawaiian language classes. Like, yeah, because it was easy. And they're like, oh. So I got my second bachelor's in Hawaiian language because it was easy. And then I continued to my master's in social work. So in 2008, I returned to Maui, and I was there as an academic advisor. I worked there at the University of Hawaii Maui College as an academic advisor. But as you can see, I come from a long line of kumu, and that path was just chosen for me from birth. Because I started lecturing in the university system, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is my calling. I'm so passionate about the language and about the culture that it just comes easy. I just talk about it, and I can go on for hours and hours and hours and talking about it, because I just want to share all that I know and spread what I know about Hawaiian language and Hawaiian culture, and I just wish everybody could know it, so that's why I do what I do. So in 2009, I went back to school. I entered into the doctorate program at the University of Southern California. And in 2012, I got my doctorate in education from the University of Southern California. And I really contribute that to my family. You know, I wouldn't have been able to pursue my education as far as I did without the support of my family. Like my sister, I lived with her. My brother, I lived with him. They helped me through school. My mom encouraging us all the way. And so I didn't do this alone. I did it with them and with all my ancestors standing behind me as well, setting the way for me to be able to achieve what I did achieve. What else? Yeah. So, yep, now I'm teaching at the University of Hawaii Maui College, Hawaiian Language and Hawaiian Studies, and I have a student, Anu, she's there. She's gonna tell you how great of a kumu I am, and then I'll pay her later. Okay, mahalo.
Mahalo. You know, as we come to the close of our little section, our sharing of our family and what our family is all about, the stories that you hear are not unusual in many families. And that story specifically being, we just do what we do. We just do what we do. Many of you sitting out there raise your children, raise your grandchildren, will raise your children in a manner that is comfortable for you. in a manner that tells you and perpetuates for you what your family is all about. For us, Hawaiian culture, you know, when we were talking about, okay, what are we going to talk about? As you see, the theme is, well, what does that mean, Mom? We were raised in Hawaiian culture. What were the values you were taught in Hawaiian culture? Mom, what was that? And, you know, it really was, you know, the values that you hear about or you read about or maybe you learn about were all things that we did. You know, the word po'okela, which means excellence. I was taught by my grandmother the little phrase that I'm sure many of your grandparents said, and that was, good enough is not good enough. You have to be your best. You have to do your best. Good enough is not good enough. Well, that's what my grandmother taught me. But I, like Kani'au, was the baby in the family. My grandmother was really excellent in quilting and weaving lauhala and all of that. But when she tried to teach me and would say, no, take it off. No, take it off. No, do it again. I'd start to cry. And then she'd go, oh, go outside and play. Hence, I cannot weave and I cannot do quilting. My other cousins can because she made them stick to it. Me, go outside, play. So, yay, I went outside, play. But fortunately for me, I loved hula. And so, I don't know what they saw or what my auntie saw or my tutu saw or my grandma saw, but I loved hula. And whereas my other cousins were waiting to go outside and play, I was the one that stuck around for hula. So when it came to what do we do? Okay, po'okela, excellence. Well, as you can see, they just do it. Excel in their education, excel in their family lives, excel in their personal lives. And it's only because we come from a people that believe in excellence. We believe in doing your very, very best and not to be satisfied with the easy way out. Yeah, otherwise, the Hokulea does not start on its world tour of 2 years. Otherwise, all of these wonderful gatherings do not occur if we don't believe in excellence. If we didn't believe in aloha in all of its forms, aloha as shown in interpersonal relationship, not only among the nuclear family, but the extended family. When Kani'au talks about her auntie, my cousin, that helped to raise her as well, it is very true. Monday to Friday, she's home with us. Friday, her auntie picks her up. I don't see her again till Sunday night sometime. And if people say, oh, I saw Kani'au at the shopping center, I said, oh, with her auntie? She goes, yeah, she was with her auntie. The children all had that extended family that made Hawaiian life what it is. We know we do not excel without our ʻOhana. Our ʻOhana, our family lift us up, our family carry us through, our family do the little things that allow us to also do the things we must. So if any of these cultural words or phrases, or you go to Hawaiian culture class and you learn about this or that, or kokua, help, laulima, cooperation, all of you are examples of that. How did the tent and the tables and the chairs get put up? Laulima, Yeah, many people coming together and working together. How will it all get put away? Same thing. Everybody coming together, help one on many, many tasks. So what you are experiencing here is Hawaiian culture. Yeah? Are all the people who want their guests to feel welcome. Most important, hospitality, ho'okipa is the most important thing in Hawaiian families, that our guests feel welcome. Our patients feel like family. Our students become our ʻOhana because we feel that that is furthers Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian values. So for our last sharing today, in this rainy day, thank you for the rain, by the way. Thank you for the rain. We like rain. It may be inconvenient at times, like now you're sitting there going, how am I getting to my car? Yeah, okay, how am I gonna get to my car in this rain? Well, just sit there, talk story till slow down. Yeah, okay. So our last little piece that we would like to share with you, we do hula. So our last little piece that we're going to do for you is to share a hula. Lono is going to chant. Lu'ukia is going to dance. Oh, and Kaniao's gonna hold the mic. So they all have a job, yeah, that's ʻOhana too, yeah? They all have a job in order for the thing to be accomplished. So we share with you ʻEo mauna I ka ohu kapalai.
Eo mauna I ka ohu ka palai, e ua I ke ohu e, I ke au I ke ahia ola e, ka lua ne moena na, ka papa ena vai hoe.
So from our ʻOhana to you, mahalo.